To another episode of For Couples Only. We're pleased to have with us Dr. Nabil Bey. Today's series session is going to be about conflict resolution. And this was a really hot topic. We've got a lot of questions about it. From resolving just everyday bickering amongst couples, vicious cycles that they get into, the same fights over and over again about things, real trivial things around the house, to real serious things such as physical or emotional abuse, to a woman who wants to take her children to church and her husband doesn't want to. I mean, just a variety of things, and the inability to stop sometimes these vicious cycles of getting into the same conversations, getting into the same drama, whether it's in front of the kids or in the privacy of their own rooms.
I think some issues you must have it in our consideration. If someone is always anxious, nervous, stressed, I will expect that every trial to communicate will or could turn to a fight. And the wise person must not make an issue from any incident. See, if she wants to do something, it's not important whether right or left. Leave her to do it one time. It's not important. So I don't make an issue of every situation and make it a big conflict. Some people tend to make big conflicts or big issues from nothing. You could drop it, pass it. But it really needs to communicate about it in a certain way to communicate. I mean, teaching communication to couples is very important. There are so many books, huge books, written about communication. And the essence of communication, basics. We have basic communication skills and advanced communication skills. At least in premarital counseling, we teach those skills. A skill how to listen. Because I cannot be a man or a woman unable to listen. I could be a pseudo-listener, pretending to listen, always interrupt, always think of the response without listening. So many blocks for listening. So we teach how to listen because the other person is important to me to listen to. What it's going to say is very important. If I'm in a lecture and I'm ignoring the value of what the lecturer is going to present, I'm not going to listen. But if I value what he's going to say in the lecture, then I will focus and listen and take notes. I want to understand. So I need to understand what the other is saying. I need to add it to my experience. I will benefit. I will use it one day. So that's why this value in what the other is saying. If I will ignore whatever the value is, my spouse, whatever he or she is going to say, I know, then I'm not going to listen. So listening is very important, and this is the key for communication. And we use the speaker-listener technique. So in order to prevent someone jumping and interrupting, we use an object which is not sharp, like a folded paper, and someone will hold it in his hand as a sign that I am the speaker right now, and your turn will come later. So your turn as a listener, you listen to understand my message. And I will try to present my message in a certain time. I don't exceed, say, 3 minutes without interruption. And then I will give you that folded paper, and then you will paraphrase to to me what you have understood from the message. If you will paraphrase it in your own words and you got the real message, you understood it, then there's no misunderstanding. Then you start now to respond. Now you have the folded paper, and I'm the one who's listening. You start responding, talking, and I listen. Then after you finish, you give me the folded paper, and then I will respond, starting by paraphrasing. So everything will be clear, no misunderstanding. This is regarding communication. But there are certain facts which we have also to understand in these basic skills of communication. I cannot ignore the other person. I cannot neglect. I cannot interrupt. I cannot devaluate whatever is going to say. So I have to be fully focused. We call it empathic listening, which means I put myself in his or her shoes, trying to get into the world of his or her thinking and feeling. I'm putting myself in his or her shoes, trying to understand fully this empathic listening, active listening with full attention, with eye contact, especially if I am talking to a woman. They need to have eye-to-eye contact. In a man, I could turn my back and talk, and he will not feel offended. But with a woman, I cannot do that. Something else, I don't put in my mind the issue of humiliation. Whatever you're going to say, I cannot humiliate you. I cannot say anything wrong or label you, because this is wrong. It will start a fight. I cannot escalate the communication. Whatever you say, anything negative, either I will be silent or I will try to say something positive. But if you start something negative and respond by something negative, for sure situation will escalate. And maybe the neighbors will listen. 911 will come after that, because it will be a fight. Some people without any paranoia or any psycho-emotional disorder, they usually misinterpret. Whatever is said, I misinterpret. If you are going somewhere, I misinterpret. And you try to convince me. I am the one who is always suspecting something. You try to convince me, but I'm not convinced. So I have to understand in communication, I have to really take a face value of what you are saying to me. I don't think that maybe you mean something else. Maybe there's a hidden agenda in you. This is wrong. It will lead to misinterpretation. As an example, that you are, say, living in a place where there's snow, and you came late at night, and you try to park the car as close as you can to the house, but you came so close to the garage door, and you rushed into the house, and in the morning, the husband will get early to take his car from inside the garage. He will go out, you'll find that the door is closed. Why? Because the car is against it. So we come to ask you why you did that. You tell him, I came late. Misinterpretation, no. You intended to stop me from going to work. This is misinterpretation. Something else which is against real communication is pursuing. Say, for communication to go smooth, the two have to be in the mood to discuss or to communicate. If I'm not interested, if I'm exhausted, if I'm tired, and you are forcing me to listen, and then I leave that room, you follow me. Go to the bathroom and close the door, you follow me. And you knock at the door because you want to complete whatever you want to say. I go out to the main door of the house because I want to leave. You come between me and the door. This is pursuing, like a cat following a mouse. Of course, there's no communication in such a way. So I'm giving you something which will interrupt normal communication, which is an art. Communication could resolve any conflict. And communication turn the conflict into more understanding between the two partners of the couple.
But doctor, what about if you have a couple where either the husband or the wife is overly sensitive? So even in the process of communicating, they're taking your straightforward explanations in a very sensitive, taking it as criticism instead
Yes.
of.
Yes, oversensitivity of someone is regarded or must be understood that there is some problem with the self-esteem of that person. Oversensitivity, anything passing by, I take it personal. Anything could hurt me. Any word could hurt me. It means I have low self-esteem. My confidence I need to be supported, need to be encouraged. So my esteem will get better. And this is the role of the spouse. Each spouse is responsible for the esteem of his or her spouse, the other partner. We are responsible to support one another, encourage one another, edify one another, appreciate one another, praise one another, admire one another. So he or she will be supported, and the esteem gradually will get better and better. Help him or her to have a business, to build a career. This is so important. But if someone is so oversensitive, whatever I'm going to say, he or she will take it personal. And communication also could turn to a fight with misunderstanding, because I don't want to hurt you, but you got hurt because you have low self-esteem. So sensitivity over sensitivity means low self-esteem. And to complete that conflict resolution issue you're talking about, if there is a major issue which needs really to be discussed, it's important to us. It's better for both of us as a partner in a couple to have a refuge to go to. Refuge means someone whom we trust, like a father of confession or a spiritual guide for us. Will go to him, and in case that we cannot reach a resolution for the conflict, he's ready, accepting both of us, but that refuge must not be a relative to either of us.
Well, something that's come up more than once is, we don't want to always run to a third party, even if it is a father of confession, to handle all of our private affairs. So we're coming into the 2-minute mark here. I would like to hear what your answer is to those couples who run to somebody every time they can't resolve a problem and never learn to resolve it themselves, and also any other advice you have for conflict resolution.
Okay, we could teach them certain steps to resolve a conflict. We'll tell them for any conflict, get information about the issue before coming to communicate about it. Put the issue outside you. Don't attack the person. Try to attack the issue itself. It's on the table in front of you. And Jesus Christ is in the meeting. Go and prepare yourself by getting more information about it and analyze it. Get suggestion about solution. Then when you come, you must set time and a place appropriate for that communication without interruption in the atmosphere around you. So no TV, no kids playing, and time reasonable for both of you. And then when they will come together, they will pray for it and will take turns. Each one will present information about the issue and his analysis or her analysis. And then getting more suggestion of solutions, one or two. And the turn will come from the other person. Will give information, analysis, and suggestion. And the two together will try to see what are the suggestions for solutions. trying to minimize them to one or two. And you have to be very careful not to attack one another, not to compare, not to curse, not to mention names, mother, father, friends, brother, sister, and don't label, because any label, if I say, you're stupid, you don't understand, you never understand, you're always not there, it will stay in the mind. After we'll finish that communication, we'll forget about the issue and we'll remember that. So, take care of this. Now we have reached certain one or two issues. We cannot reach one compromise. We could postpone it a few days and think of it again inside our house. But I prefer, if there's a major issue there, without a compromise or understanding or solution, not resolved, we must not exceed the limit of 3 months. And we have to go to a refuge. Usually, as I told you, could be father of confession. We don't go every day to him, because with God we'll try. But if we cannot, nothing wrong. Because if an issue stays in our minds unresolved, it leads to more frustration and anger inside at least one of us. So we go to the refuge and we pray before going. We'll tell him we have two solutions. Pray with us, whatever you're going to say, we'll follow. And he will pray with us. And whatever God, we believe God will send for us through him. And after prayer, he will listen to both of us, either individually or the two at the same time talking, one at a turn, and then he will give us which suggestion, and we'll follow the suggestion. So these steps, we'll follow them. If you take a major issue, we have to learn how to deal with one another, communicating about any issue or a conflict to reach more understanding. If we cannot, we have to go to a refuge.